If you speak in English, your personality becomes better. It's not right to say that it's just a language. It is a language. Like a beginner or a person who's not very fluent with the language can communicate well. You don't exactly need words and sentences. To the English language, there are people who just use the language for the sake of using it, to show off, to put on and things. They don't give the chance to others to speak. They always want to be in the spotlight. So suddenly they go and sit in the corner of a room and they become silent. I'm not speaking. If you speak in English, your personality becomes better. English has got a lot to do with personality. Let's analyze this statement today. Before I begin with today's video, this is Rini Rose Matthew. If you're watching the content for the first time, you need to check the channel description. And I am a CELTA certified trainer and also an author. You will get more details when you watch the other videos on the channel. Do not forget to do that because most of your questions would have been already answered through these videos. Personality and the English language. Some people think that English has got a personality. As I've already mentioned, it is a language. It's not right to say that it's just a language. It is a language like your mother tongue. It has got a significance. Now, before dissecting and analyzing the statement with reference to the global aspects of English as a language, let's look at this personality development and the language. The words that you use, the language that you use, and also the way you put your words in the sentences has got something to tell about you. It says something about your personality. But we cannot get the complete idea of a person through any language, whether it's your mother tongue or English. Language is language. It has got a lot to do with your culture, your background, the way you have been groomed, and also the way you've been using the language. That's very important. So if you're very, very comfortable with your mother tongue, you could be at ease. And when you're at ease, you will have a lot of words and a lot of sentences. So definitely the way you frame your sentences and the type of words that you use tells something about you as a person and as a character. So experts will be able to understand after listening to you for maybe about 15 to 20 minutes. But human beings are really complicated. It is not very easy to decode and decipher everything. But to an extent, language speaks. The style of language, the way you use the language to communicate. So here I'm not speaking about fluency, even if you don't know a particular language, even if you're not at ease with the English language, for example. A beginner or a person who's not very fluent with the language can communicate well. You don't exactly need words and sentences to show what you are, your personality or your character. So irrespective of fluency, the way you put the words in your sentences has got something to tell about you. So it's a combination of both verbal and non-verbal communication. Now coming to language that you're at ease, that you're very fluent with, when it comes to English also, we cannot analyze a person based on the language that he or she knows. So as I told you in the beginning, suppose you're fluent with the language, the way you use the words in the language that you use brings about the personality, the character, and the totality of a person as a whole. It's not about judgment, it's not about analysis. So the language, the verbal communication, the non-verbal communication, all these aspects, the body language, everything put together brings about the personality. It has got nothing to do with the language specifically, but language is a part of the whole combination. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, now let's look at the other aspects. There are people who use a language to show off. Specifically when it comes to the English language, there are people who just use the language for the sake of using it, to show off, to put on an identity, to show that they are very good with the global language and they belong to some particular status of the society. It's not like that. Language has got nothing to do with all these aspects of life. So people try to put on certain things and use the language to show off, to be flamboyant, to also show the extravagant aspects of their life, which could be an exaggeration or a reality, whatever it is, but they use it. They use English language to do that. Now, when we look at the personality of a person, when we look at the character also, there are people who draw attention, like how I told you just now, by putting on, by showcasing. But there are other ways also. Suppose there are people who are just comfortable with the mother tongue. You can use any language to put on or showcase whatever you're trying to portray to other people in a room or in the society. So some people catch attention, they crave for attention. I think that's very important. That speaks a lot about your whole being. It is something that contributes to the overall aspect of personality as such. So craving for attention, that can be done in any way, and non-verbal communication, non-verbal cue is an important aspect of this. So you must have seen some people speaking too much about irrelevant things. It's good to speak. I'm not saying that speaking too much is not a very good approach to life. So what I'm trying to tell you is some people are already in the habit of speaking too much in order to catch attention about irrelevant things. They don't give the chance to others to speak. They always want to be in the spotlight. They want to catch the attention, and it has got nothing to do with the topic of discussion. They keep deviating and they keep going to other topics, and even if the listeners give them cues that we are not interested, they keep speaking. So that's one way of craving for attention. The second point is some people create the fuss, they make the fuss. So suddenly they go and sit in the corner of a room and they become silent. I'm not speaking about genuine and sincere feelings. It's okay if they communicate and if they share about their problem, not wholly, but at least say that, okay, I'm not feeling good or I'm not okay. But some people, they don't communicate, they don't prefer communicating, but very happily make a very big fuss. They're complacent about their behavior and they throw tantrums, suffocating by being obstacles in the balance of harmony around in the environment, so disturbing the whole environment. Now that is also something that has got a lot to do with personality and character. Here we are not analyzing and judging, but these are some of the patterns of behavior that has got a lot to do with personality, character. We speak much about these aspects when it comes to personality development and such kind of things. It's more about preference, preferring to walk away when you're really needed. Okay, of course it's your choice, but when there is an urgency for people to communicate with you, when you have to be accessible, there are people who just cut off and prefer to be so happy, isolated, staying aloof in the corners of rooms or being away, escaping, pretending. Now these are behavioral patterns that you have to take note of, because we cannot change such people. The change should come from the other side of communication. Communication happens when you have discussions, when you have two people interacting, conversing with each other. Different types of communications are there, but here it's the change is expected from the other side, because such behavioral patterns causes negativity, it attracts negative vibes, and of course to an extent it is toxic. And the last point is too much of excitement. When you go for a trip, or when you're so excited about a place, going with friends or family members, generally people are very excited, and there is always a tendency to cross the boundaries or to explore the unrestricted areas, the unexplored pages of life. Sometimes we may not have saviors, we may not have people to advise or give suggestions. You have to do it all by yourself. When that's a situation, too much of excitement, too much of attention that you really want, everything can pollute the harmony and the air. So deliberately craving for attention and getting attention for what you have been doing are two different things. So for example, when it comes to your work or your life or anything that you do, your achievements, it grabs attention, right? And that's not on purpose. But otherwise, when you really want the attention of other people, it's done through all these kind of behavioral patterns, which causes so much of disharmony. So in short, what I'm trying to tell you is, When you speak in English, of course, your personality is not going to reach its heights. But when you speak in any language, not just English, it has got something to tell the audience, the listener, and the society because of the choice of words and the way you communicate it. So when you're anxious, when you're irritated, when you're perplexed or confused, sometimes because of life, of course, people have different ways of expressing their emotion. Expression is a very good way of communication. You express and finish it off. But it shouldn't go to the extent of harming and causing more toxicity in the environment. Already, we as human beings, we are pouring and putting a lot of poison in the surroundings and in the environment. Why do we have to pollute it with more attitude and approach? So let me make one more point. So towards the end of this video, I just have got one thing to tell you. Personality is groomed. It gets molded based on the deep and intricate experiences in life. And it shapes with forbearance and foresightedness. When you have complicated and deep experiences in life, you will have that deep intuition. It's not just about foreseeing things, but you will be able to create a mind map, think about the possibilities and probabilities, and guide yourself and others. So that's the point. I hope this video helps you with all the guidelines. It's important to listen to guidelines and also listen to conversation because both are important when it comes to speech and also when it comes to communicational aspects. Happy learning.